Everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this video. It's an extremely exciting day in Clemson, especially for a Clemson football fan. I'm Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins. At least I'm not Bobby Durkins here. If you're brand new here, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. And I do appreciate it. I'm sorry for the shaking and so on. I'm actually at a different table. Normally, when I'm sitting over there in the corner with my Clemson flags and everything, uh, I'm like totally like not engaged and so on. But I'm on this table. You see it shaking. It's not an earthquake, I promise. If you're brand new here, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free and turn on the notifications. And it'll let you know when I go online. That's that little bell there, the little notification. So today coming out of Clemson, it was a mirage, almost a tsunami of information that has started coming out, starting with Brandon Streeter has been fired as the offensive coordinator for Clemson. So let me tell you this. Let's just go ahead and jump on this. Brandon Streeter was quarterback for Clemson in the late 90s. I'm not going to take a shot at he or his family, so everybody leave your ugly comments at the door. Now, an ugly comment is not qualified by saying that he should have not been the offensive coordinator for Clemson. That I'm not saying that he could never coach. I'm not saying that he could that it's outside of his wheelhouse. I'm just telling you, we did not see that he was the right person for the job at Clemson. With that said, we do wish him the best. And he was making $925,000 a year. I can go ahead and tell you, I very well doubt that he is begging for bread out on the streets of Clemson tonight. And he'll probably be picked up. I don't know if he's off the coaching staff. He might have been just demoted. I don't know what the deal is there. He probably has a clause in his contract to where he's being paid more than you and I will make in the next 20 years unless something happens. So, once again, no ugly comments. Just Brandon Streeter is no longer the offensive coordinator, and that's definitely I think for the best for Clemson football. As soon as I got finished filming that video, going live with that, about 20 minutes later, I start receiving some text messages, and the word was coming out that Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator for TCU, and the brother of Lincoln Riley, yes, the Southern California, former Oklahoma, now very much hated by Oklahoma, head coach Lincoln Riley, his brother, 33 years old, first-year offensive coordinator at Kansas State, or not Kansas State. For some reason, I keep thinking of Kansas State when I think of TCU. I don't know why. At TCU. And long story short, now he is the offensive coordinator at Clemson. And no more did that news come out than there's a lot of information swirling around that Jeff Scott is coming back. The rumor is at this point he's going to be an analyst and he will focus on recruiting. Okay, folks. So I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to pause right there. If you have Jeff Scott anywhere near the football team, this guy is going to be such an asset. He's a world-class recruiter. He's a recruiter of recruiters. I mean, he is the man. So to know that he's going to be just back in the decision-making realm of Clemson and influencing just really the entire team, that puts a big smile on my face if that is coming true. So, everybody, I appreciate everyone who's jumped in here. RS20, Grafnar, we got Greg Larkin, Taco Gaming 75, Loggerhead TV. So this would be absolutely fantastic if if everything lands as it seems like it's going to land. So let's talk about Garrett Riley. He's 33 years old. This guy has, about 12 years ago, he was coaching offense and quarterbacks coach at a high school. He has made his way up through the ranks. I mean, he even had a coaching stint at, I want to say Appalachian State. And then he was at SMU with Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes brought him over to TCU. He coached. I know they didn't have that great showing in the national championship, but we saw what happened there. And I'm going to tell you about the national championship. You have to have a defense to win a championship. And TCU couldn't stop a middle school team the other night. That 3-3-5 looked absolutely terrible. I predicted it. If you watched my video from last week, you saw that video. I'm not a massive X's and O's guy, but I will tell you this: there are ABCs of football. Like, you have to take care of the football. Whoever wins in the trenches along the line, most likely they're going to win the game. And matchups, you have to look at a 3-3-5 is fantastic for defending the pass. The problem is when you go up against a team who can line up and run the ball legitimately down your throat. We're not talking about 3 yards here, 3 yards here, 3 yards. Maybe you get a stop, 3 yards here. We're talking about someone who can line up and literally hand the ball off, get 6 to 9 yards per carry, and you're sitting here going, what are we doing? And so it's just really interesting, and I'll leave it at that. But when it comes to Garrett Riley, the national championship, what went on there, I totally don't blame him. I don't hang anything on him. I just really think that when you know that your defense can't stop anything, I think it makes you want to play perfect. You start to panic, and everything falls apart. With that said, I look at the athletes that Clemson had, or that they have, and I think about them within this scheme. And then I think about Jeff Scott influencing just the persona of the team. Because Jeff Scott, for anyone who has a brain, that Jeff Scott is a major influence on the reason Clemson won national championships. Now, I'm going to pause right here. And I'm going to tell you this. I said this on the last video. I'm going to say this now. I was sitting with someone one day, and they're a big Clemson fan. They never acknowledge that I have the Bobby Durkins. Now, this is when I just had Bobby Durkins. This whole not Bobby Durkins thing. Just happened. The Not Bobby Durkins channel just happened over the past 4 or 5 months. So he was just specifically speaking of the things that he had seen on Bobby Durkins, but he didn't act like he knows about Bobby Durkins, but he did not act like it. We weren't even talking about it. We were just talking Clemson football. And this person said to me specifically, anyone who believes that Jeff Scott, this was in the middle of the 2021 Clemson football season. So Clemson at this point had already lost to Georgia. They had already lost to NC State. They looked terrible. Okay, they looked horrible. He was sitting there talking to me, and he was playing like but I could tell by the stuff he'd said he'd watched my videos. Sometimes, y'all, you just have to understand something. I'm just your common guy, make videos, kind, wonderful people like yourself. Comes in here and you watch your videos, you add your opinions. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. But with that said, I could tell it's a lot of fun. I'll just say this is a lot of fun, but I could tell that I could just tell that I could tell that he had watched my videos. I'll leave it at that. And I remember he said to me to my face, he said, there's so many people out there, they're just so crazy and dumb. He said that along the lines. I know he was talking about me. And I just kind of kicked back. And listened to it. And he said, some people are just so dumb. They don't realize that Tony Elliott has been calling the plays this entire time. Tim Russell, it said, is this guy in witness protection? He said he is not someone interested in Brandon move. Not Bobby Durkins. Go look up Bobby Durkins, and you'll see why. Not Bobby Durkins. Most people hate Bobby Durkins, and they'll come show after show to tell him how much they hate him. You'll figure it out. But this guy said to me, he said, these people, they're living in delusion. They're living in delusion. Jeff Scott does not call the plays. Folks, let me tell you right now, Jeff Scott, the day he left Clemson, something happened at Clemson. Now, the year after they won the national championship, something started going down. Started going down some. But I'm going to tell you this. The day that Jeff Scott was no longer at Clemson, it really went down. Joe Brady at LSU. I know everybody loves to talk about Steve Ensminger. Well, Steve Ensminger was there before Brady and after Brady. During Brady. I'm going to say this to some of you folks, and I'm on my channel, so I'm going to take a little more liberty. I'm not talking to you face to face because I try to be kind to people. But I am going to be blunt here and tell you that if you lack the evaluation skills, you don't have to go to some Ivy League school. You don't have to go to Oxford. You don't have to go to MIT. You don't have to go out to Stanford. You don't have to be a brainiac to realize, hold on, one person was there before, during, and after, and nothing changed. But there was added one person for 1 year. There was success, and they left, and before and after, they were terrible. Well, that was Joe Brady, folks. Grow a flipping brain. My point is, Jeff Scott is a brilliant, brilliant football coach. He's a brilliant recruiter. And everybody knows that infamous play from Deshaun Watson to Hunter Renfrow against Alabama to win the national championship was Jeff Scott's call. Jeff Scott influenced that. Folks, I'm just going to throw this out there and ask you this. Are you that blind if you don't see that he was the one that was making the calls? I'm just asking you. Can you not see it? I'm going to pause here and tell everyone I've got 82 people in here right now. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're brand new here, I'm not Bobby Durkins. And for some of you who seemingly don't know who Bobby Durkins is a fictional character that I created back in around 2016. And I am the annoying redneck character. I have ticked off a lot of people. If you go on TigerNet, you can read horrible things that's been said about me. And I want to let you know from the bottom of my country heart, I love every second of it. It's a lot of fun ticking off a lot of people. And it's a lot of fun making people go, is he real? Is he not real? Tell me, would you not find that fun? If you're brand new here, I'm just me, Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins. Hit the subscribe button. I've got 82 people in here, 20 thumbs up. Listen to me. If you're a Clemson fan, you should be hitting the thumbs up, not because of me, but because today, Dabo Swinney, possibly the original Dabo Swinney, the one who told us when Clemson won their first 10-win season since the early 90s and won an ACC championship since the first time in forever. You remember that Dabo Swinney? You remember that Dabo who looked at us and told us, hey, listen, this is not the goal. I know you're excited, but calm down. The goal is winning championships and consistently being a legitimate championship contender. Well, I've been questioning where that man went. And today, I believe that man returned. You fired Brandon Streeter. SEC dog, you should share it everywhere. Turner Kirby said, if you're ticking off the TNET boards, you're definitely doing something. Let me tell you this funny story. I have to share this with you. So I did a video, golly, it was the year that Clemson won the national championship with Trevor Lawrence. It was 2018 season. And there was a guy named Tailgating for Tigers who uh, just let me see. Neon Dion said Pete put out a video an hour ago, drunk and hilarious. I bet he was hilarious. Pete's hilarious. Pete's fantastic. But Tailgating for Tigers is the brilliant Clemson fan who dresses up as a Gamecock fan and then went out and got them to talk trash about Clemson and then got them to do an SEC chants. You can find Tailgating for Tigers all over YouTube. He's brilliant. So he hit me up and he asked me, he said, would you be willing to come out as Bobby Durkins to the South Carolina Clemson game? It's when South Carolina played at Clemson. Jake Bentley and Dabo Samuel was playing for them. Jake Bentley actually threw for 510 yards on us, something like that. It was a brilliant performance. Clemson still won by 3 touchdowns. He said, would you come out and sing your song, Peck Your Dookie Chicken, to Gamecock fans to their face? And I said, I am dumb enough, I will. And no Neon Dion, I'm not at Pete's having a beer. He lives about 3 hours from me, but we would celebrate a little bit if I was there. But I went out there and, well, I agreed to it. And then my dad hit me up. My dad said, hey, I heard you were going to do this. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. This isn't going to be funny. He was worried up, South Carolina fans was going to punch me. I said, well, I'm going to be in Clemson, so they're not going to do anything to me. And then my wife is really chill, laid back. She's not the dramatic type whatsoever. If, in fact, she's really laid back. She came to me and she said, I know you can take care of you, but do you really think it's a good idea to sing Peck Your Dookie Chicken to the face of South Carolina fans? I said, if I was in Columbia, maybe. I'm in Clemson. I'm surrounded by my own. I think we're okay. And so we went out and we did a full video. You can find it on YouTube. Bobby Durkins and Tailgating for Tigers. It's from 2018. And I actually sang Peck Your Dookie Chicken to South Carolina fans. That, believe it or not, they were a lot of fun. They understood that I was just an act. I met them beforehand. Now, we just walked up to wherever they were tailgating. I said, hey, this is just that. We're just doing it in good, clean fun. I met them, talked to them. And I told them, I said, but I will tell you, when I start on character, you will believe I'm real, and it will be annoying. And so I did it. And so that video went up. And then my dad calls me one day and he says, hey, are you okay? And I said, what do you mean I'm okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's good. What are you talking about? Clemson won? We're doing great. And he said, have you seen anything on TigerNet? And I said, quite honestly, I read TigerNet during recruiting season. That's when I'm nothing against TigerNet. It's just, that's the only time I pay attention to TigerNet. I'll, check on recruiting. And he said, okay. And I was like, okay, you can't tell me that and not. Anyway, long story short, I got it out of him, and then I went and I looked, and some people said some horrible things about me on TigerNet. And I just want to let you know, I thought it was funny. I really thought it was funny. There was somebody who said Bobby Durkins is lowbrow humor, and I'm like, look, I know we're Clemson, South Carolina. and I know we should take pride in where we come from and so on. But you guys are acting like we're Harvard or something, and I have ruined some great tradition. It's like, y'all, chill out. I mean, if another man's success, namely Dabo's, has done this to you, Y'all need to get a life. But anyway. So let's get back to this. I have a lot of people in here making various comments. There's ton of, this is exciting. This is what I enjoy. If you ever see me lose my thought, I'm sitting here watching this. Now, Philip Brister said, what happened to Dabo's mad video? I took it down. And I'll tell you why I took it down. I got tired of complaining about a man who makes $11 million a year. I'm being honest. I really did. Nobody said anything to me. Nobody owns this channel but me. And I took it down. I just said, you know what? This guy makes $11 million a year. He's won 2 championships. He doesn't care what I say. In fact, I'm almost believing that what I say is cementing him in his, like arguing with a child. Not to call him a child, but I'm just saying it's like arguing with him. Well, you know what? He doesn't care what I say. He doesn't care that his team just got blown out by a team missing their 2 biggest stars. He doesn't care. But today restores a lot of faith in Dabo Swinney that he is not some washed-up coach, or who's just, I wouldn't even say washed-up, complacent. He would just take a paycheck. And a lot of coaches do that, folks. You need to realize that. They really, really do. Now, some messages in here. They're talking about how SEC dog, of course. Taters need to go ahead and order a truckload of plungers to pull their face back out after this guy takes over. He's 33 years old. 33 years old, and he was coaching 2- and 3-star athletes against Georgia. And I will say this, that TCU, I said that 3-3-5 versus a team who could run the football and throw it is a terrible defense. And that's what happens in the Big 12. Big 12, they go out there and they try to stop their own. If they stop their own, they're like, we are the champions. You got Freddie Mercury, the ghost of Freddie Mercury singing. And then they go in, they play a team that has to play just smash mouth football. And they don't know what to do. And so can you imagine having to call offense against a team who your defense can't stop? So your offense has to play perfect. And then their defense that's coming against you is furthermore emboldened to come after you, ears pinned back, because they know that your defense can't stop their offense. He's 33 years old. Folks, one of the reasons, especially if you're outside of the Clemson fan base, and by the way, 100 people are in here, thank you so much for viewing this. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. It supports the channel. I appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, it's free. I mean, it's not like I'm, siphoning money out of your account. Hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. But folks, what I'm saying here is that this guy has been coaching with 3-star players. He comes to Clemson. He has a fantastic defense on the other side of the ball. Some people has been questioning Wes Goodwin. Now, am I fully sold on Wes Goodwin? No, I'm not. Can I complain about Wes Goodwin like I could complain about our offense? Not even the same galaxy. So if you're sitting here right now and you're like, will Wes still has Venables, guys? How the new rules are out, especially after 2020 with the extra year of eligibility, all of the extra eligibility that the NCAA has been allowing, transferring here, transferring there, transferring everywhere. We have players who are coming back that I didn't even know they could come back. I didn't even know that they had a year of eligibility left. And they're coming back. My question to you, folks, my question to you is is it going to take 10 years to, and okay, that's an exaggeration. It's going to literally take 4 to 5 years to clear out all the players that could be Venables guys. If Wes Goodwin really stinks it up. Okay, great. In 5 or 6 years, I think Wes Goodwin is a good coordinator. I don't know how great he is and blah, 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 blah. I really don't even like the term great. That gets thrown around too much. It's like successful. What metric are you using? And folks, I'm going to tell you this. The truth is, I think what's shocking, if you're not a Clemson fan, you need to understand something. If you're not a Clemson fan, the most shocking part of all of this, what is it? What is it? Comment section? You want to light it up? You want to light it up? What is the most shocking part of Dabo Swinney hiring Garrett Riley? Somebody, I give you 10 seconds to put in the comment section. What is the most shocking part about Garrett Riley being hired by Dabo Swinney? Exactly. He's an outside hire. That's it. Jonathan Benton, there's no connection to Dabo. Tim Russell, Dabo did something, hired outside. Not a Clemson man, hired outside. Folks, if you are not a Clemson fan, you don't understand why we're excited. Because here's the deal. Swinney, over the past 3 years, maybe 4, has become absolutely enamored, obsessed with fitting the culture. And what did that always equal for us? Oh no, he's going to hire another former player. Oh no, he's going to hire another buddy. Dad gummit. Neon Dion says, I don't think Dabo made these 2 decisions on his own. I'm going to, and I'm going to throw this out there. I agree with you. So what a lot of people doesn't understand is that $11 million, right at $11 million that Dabo Swinney's paid. I think the state, the actual school, pays him around what, $200,000 to $250,000. There's a breakdown you can actually look at. There's a lot of people they'll talk about, especially people who's like a socialist or a communist, which unfortunately we have a lot more of those people in our country now than ever. They just don't want to admit that it fails everywhere it touches. Castro was a socialist. Mao was a communist. It's like, don't get political. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just, that's not even really political. It's just the truth. It's flipping history. Read a book. I mean, anyway. But the point is that they'll complain, oh, he's paid $11 million by the state. No, he's actually paid around $200,000 or $250,000, which is a lot of money. Me, I'd love to make that. Yeah, Hunter Goat Fro. We haven't tried real socialism yet. Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh yeah, yeah. Communism would have worked if it did it. That's hilarious. But the point is that those donors are the ones who makes up that $11 million. And you can't tell me, and fantastic Turner Kirby, fantastic. The AD is a 40-year-old man. He took Dan Radakovich's place. And you can't tell me that when Georgia was beating the living excrement out of TCU, like the likes of no one we have ever seen, ever, you cannot tell me that they were not blowing up that guy's phone. That guy couldn't even take a dump without a phone call. That guy couldn't. He probably was like, okay. I don't know if he's married or not, but we'll just play the game. He listens to his wife and he goes, listen. Let's go to our cabin in the woods. Let's go to our cabin in the woods. Nobody will find us there. He goes there to the cabin in the woods. He's sitting there on the can. He's trying to take a dump. All of a sudden, the window beside his toilet there in his bathroom. He starts hearing, dun, 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 dun. What are you going to do about this, man? Dun, 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 dun. Listen, you can't escape us. We pay a lot of money, and we don't want this. Dun, 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 dun. We'll take your job. Dun, 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 dun. You know that's what happened. I'm just telling you, folks. You know that's what happened. That may never ever come out. Everybody might put super glue on their lips and act like it never happened, but you and I know it did. Folks, I'm excited that Clemson has made a move, an outside hire. Now, will Garrett Riley be the savior? I'm not proclaiming that. But if you are a Clemson fan and you've been paying attention, other than some of those, you would be surprised. And I hate to say it like this, but I'm just going to say this, and y'all just take it as it is. Periodically, as I'm checking my messages, and I love to try to answer my messages, but a lot of times there's so many of them I can't. And I just hit the thumbs up and heart button. And, just to let you know, I appreciate it. Thank you for commenting. This is just something I do on the side. I have a full-time job. I'm married with 2 kids. But I love my family. I do what I can, but I can't always respond. But you can tell some of these office women, and I'm just going to put it like that. Office women will come on my channel. They're big Clemson fans. They go, woohoo. They're probably season ticket holders. And they can tell you a name of the few players. But they are just so blah, blah, blah. And they're just so laid back. By the way, if you want to support my channel, there's a link below. You don't even have to go through YouTube. You'll go there. You'll see Bobby Durkins. You can give as little as $1 or as much as your little heart and bank account wants to give. So you go ahead and you check it out. But they'll come on and tell me just how terrible I am and how awful I am and that I don't know what I'm talking about. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, Dabo Swinney would not hire from the outside if you put a gun to his kid's head. He had got into his head that for culture, he had to hire from within, like a Rothschild, to keep everything within the family. And it didn't work. I don't care what any of you say. Tony Elliott was not the Mac Daddy that everybody thought he was. He was not. Notice when Jeff Scott was totally removed, it all went to crap really quick, and he had Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback. So stop lying to yourselves. Stop drinking bleach. Stop hanging out at South Carolina rest stops or whatever you're doing that's making you lose your mind. You're wrong. Tony Elliott was not the man. Jeff Scott was. I don't care if he was starching the underwear of all the players and coaches. When that man left, so did the magic. And folks, I'm just telling you, this is interesting. I mean, it is just really, really, really interesting. Somebody just told me that Lisa Marie Presley died, and I just looked it up. She did at 54. It's terrible. I mean, J.C. Miller show, here's the deal. Tony Elliott, this is what he said. Tony Elliott was carried by ETN and Lawrence, and he didn't give ETN the ball enough to begin with. Yep. How do you mess that up? My Lord, you could send me out there to call play. I have a pair of boots downstairs that I cut grass in. And I have full faith that they would have done quite well with Trevor Lawrence, ETN, T. Higgins. I don't care what any of you Clemson fans have to say on this. You're totally wrong. We can kind of scratch our heads and say, okay, Joe Burrow was this and Joe Burrow was that, and Jamar Chase, Terrence Marshall, and blah, blah, blah. Here's the deal. Clemson was up 17-7 in that. And what did our offensive coordinator, who everybody likes to take up for, say? We forsook the run with Travis Etienne? What is wrong? Did all the money go to your head? Did everybody telling you were? I just don't get this. Yeah, Amari Rodgers, thank you very much. I get so sick of this. And then people comes on and tells me I'm wrong, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I can be wrong, but you know what? I'm not being paid out the butt. Good Lord. You're right, Clemson Carson. Both losses to LSU and Ohio State were caused by the offensive coordinator abandoning the run. It would be fun. It would be totally understandable and within grasp that the offensive coordinator would abandon the run if you didn't have the running back. Can you imagine if Tony Elliott had Barry Sanders as his running back? But we don't know him as Barry Sanders. We just know him as Travis Etienne. We'll just say Dale Smith. I know that's a really dumb name, but let's just go with that. We really did. It's like, okay, we took the blinders off. It was Barry Sanders. What? 150 people in here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you hadn't subscribed, subscribe. It's free. Even if you hate me. 59 thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up if you're a Clemson fan. This is the greatest day in Clemson football since Brent Venables being hired. Folks, I'm not saying that because of Garrett Riley. The reason I'm saying that is because Dabo Swinney realized something was wrong. And even if this hire is wrong, at least he made a move to try to correct it. My Lord, hit the thumbs up for that. Put that on TigerNet. Put that on your Facebook forums, Clemson Tiger fans. My Lord, I've listened to the trash that's on local radio here in the upstate, the flagship station. Some of it's good. Some of it's just pure trash. Turned over there the other day and they were talking about old rap music. And I was like, I thought this was anyway, God help me. Brown Tiger says, Bobby Durkins Jr. in the bed. No. I can hear him up, running around playing. Y'all don't understand Bobby Durkins Jr. I'm going to tell you the story about Bobby Durkins Jr. He's 7, just turned 7 the other day. So he has his own room, and he was having a hard time going to sleep. So I told him, I said, listen, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to take the iPad, my wife's iPad, and we've bought almost all the seasons of Andy Griffith. We love Andy Griffith. By the way, Andy Griffith was one of the greatest manipulators of all time. Some of you, I said that to Chase Henderson, one of the Henderson sisters, and he was like, whoa. What do you mean he was manipulating? I started laying out how he's a great manipulator. He goes, oh my Lord, I've watched all those years and never realized it. You're right. He's a manipulator. And by the way, Mayberry, most of those people were actually quite terrible. Can you imagine having to deal with Aunt B on a daily basis with her sacrimonious mindset? What an annoying woman. Good Lord. Makes me want to stick my head in a meat grinder or dry my hair with a blowtorch. Terrible. But my point is, we like to watch Andy Griffith to get him asleep, and then I lay beside him. Sometimes me and my wife will snuggle in and get everything. So the other night he couldn't sleep well, and I go in there and I lay beside Bobby Durkins Jr. and I fall asleep beside him. Falls asleep, gets on over in the morning, and suddenly, for some reason, I guess where he kind of moved around, I kind of woke up and I realize he's gone. And I look at my clock and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I fell asleep for a long period of time. My son runs down. All of a sudden, I see a shadow of someone out like this running up our stairs towards me. And I realize it's him. He's woke up in a panic and didn't realize I'd fell asleep beside him because I was on the other side of him. He could off running. It's hilarious. I'm sorry, I couldn't help that. Folks, as I'm closing this down, and I know that a lot of people didn't get on here to hear me talk about my family. So let me get on to Clemson football. Once again, you non-Clemson fans have absolutely no clue why Clemson is excited. Dabo made a decision to fire someone who was a former Clemson quarterback, has been in the quarterback, that he was the first Clemson quarterback coach that, to my knowledge, ever. And he was the QB coach for Deshaun Watson, Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence, became the OC, worked with DJ. By the way, I'm telling you, DJ is going to go out to Oregon State. Jonathan Smith is going to work with him. And barring injury, I truly believe that we're all going to be sitting here going, yup, our offensive development was that bad. I think DJ is going to do well in that system. I'm just telling you. SEC dog, this one thing I'll tell you right now. If our offense can look that bad over the past 3 years, especially, with Trevor Lawrence being part of one of those 3 years, Swinney didn't know what Swinney got caught up in his success and felt like he could just hire about anyone. And us Clemson fans was pretty upset. I was really upset, and I'll tell you why, because Swinney was turning on the fans. When you see a coach turning on the fans, look what happened to Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher was on top of the world. He was recruiting. He was dominating. Won a national championship. And suddenly, his team started playing like trash. He's arguing with fans. We started seeing this out of Swinney. Maybe he wasn't arguing with fans in Death Valley. He's already said that, hey, if people expect us to do this, that, and the other, then maybe I need to go coach somewhere else. Where, Alabama, where they'll burn your flipping house down if you come out there and say, well, you know, we're graduating at a high rate. And Alabama fans are like, we could care less. We want championships, baby. Well, I won one last year, and we want one this year. Did you not see that in your contract? And folks, this is the deal. For Clemson fans, that's the reason why we're excited, is because Swinney, something happened to where he stopped hiring outside, for the most part. If you're a Clemson fan, you know this. If you're a dedicated Clemson fan, I'm not talking about somebody who has a little tiger paw up in their cubicle at the office. They have a little Clemson shirt, and you're like, "Go Tigers! We know it's football season. Who are they playing this week? Miami? Are they playing Miami? Oh, they're not playing Miami. They're playing Furman. Oh!" I run into those people, and it just makes me want to just go, don't even try anymore. Get into bowling. Please get into bowling. If you'll do bowling, I think that would be more up your alley. I wonder if is that Trevor Lawrence doing good? Yeah, he's been in NFL for like 3 years now. Okay, 2 years, but I'm just saying. 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, Trevor's no longer with the team. Yeah, I don't think you've ever been with the team, you idiot. But folks, I'm just throwing this out there to you. Real Clemson fans knows without a shadow of a doubt. They know without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm going to have to go because I can hear Bobby Durkins Jr. Jr. is about to get in some trouble. But he's down there sassing his mom. But yeah, this is not going to end well. So I'm going to have to go. I'm just going to say this. If you're a Clemson fan, you know that Swinney got caught up in hiring within the culture. People who understands the culture. him going outside, even if this is the wrong hire, at least lets us realize he's cognizant. He's cognizant that something was wrong and that he was just not throwing his hands up and saying, "Yeah, I'll take the almost 11 million a year and y'all can go away, you little redneck peons." A lot of faith has been restored in Dabo Swinney for me, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that with that. T-Unit, I agree with you. There's some coaches that still needs to be unearthed. We'll see if Garrett Riley is given the keys to fire those coaches and keep who he needs. Also, there was a rumor somebody sent me. A lot of people sends me stuff. I have to weed through it. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but a lot of times I'm right because very kind people who I think a lot of send me stuff, and it gets to me, and sometimes I get it out to you before everybody else does. So maybe I should charge for that. I don't know. I don't. And I'm just being, Brown Tiger said, headed to Seneca tomorrow. You know me. You know I'm from Seneca. Um, but but my point in all of this is there is a rumor that was sent to me that if we have any scholarships left, I do know that Ngata announced his candidacy, or that he's entering the NFL draft. So there's one. If I'm doing the math right, there's at least one that Garrett Riley will be allowed to go to the transfer portal if he wants to. I don't know if that's the truth, folks. Don't know if that's the truth. Don't get all pissed off and mad. There's no reason to bomb my house, take a look in my yard, call my kids ugly. I'm just telling you, that is what I am hearing, and we will go from there, folks. I'm going to go because I can tell my wife is struggling with the not because she can't handle them, but it's just after a while. What do? You need Dad to step in and help too. Bobby Durkins Jr. He's 7. He's wild. He's got a wild hair in him. But anyway, great news coming out of Clemson. Looks like Garrett Riley. He's definitely going to be the man. But he also looks like Jeff Scott. Yes, Jeff Scott, the one, the only, the incredible, will be coming back to Clemson. Rumors is analyst role, but he will focus on recruiting. Great news for us. So anyway, if you're a Clemson fan here, hit the thumbs up. This is for you. This is for you. This makes the 2023 season worthwhile. If you're part of the 150 that's watching right now and you haven't subscribed, it's flipping free. I'm not asking you to pay $10 per month. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. And if you do want to support the channel, guess what? There's a link below. You can click on it. You can go there as little as $1, or you can give as much as your bank account will allow. Just still feed your children, please. I'm Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins, at least not right here. Oh, Bobby is having a good time, and we don't know. Bobby Durkins might come out for this. Y'all take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the next show. See you next time.